The four alternatives, you could have it depends, a lot depends on the mode of the project, what it is you're actually procuring. So I wouldn't exactly say that there are those are four ideas that are currently in process. You could have the panels, you put out a bid, companies who are knowledgeable in the field can be evaluated on that basis. They constitute the panel. The panel must be transparent. Unfortunately, what has happened in our immediate past is we've seen these panels implemented, but they haven't been transparent. So in departments that had less than pure motives, the panels have been abused. And they deliberately have not made them transparent so that they could exactly exploit those. So the basis of those panels are where a company submits its credentials, its experience, and then for various levels of expertise, sort of a rate. Remember, at that point, they don't know what the project's all about. That is open to abuse and misinterpretation, unless it's transparent and there's a good understanding. The other larger project processes could indeed be what they call a EPC or EPCM, where the entity, and it works best, I believe, in economic infrastructure. We must distinguish between social infrastructure and economic infrastructure. Your social infrastructure is simple. In the social infrastructure, it's a case of communities needing sanitation and water supply. The ability to pay is not that high, so you can't exactly say that you're creating an opportunity for some concessionaire to now supply water or to be able to treat water. The communities need it. Economic infrastructure would be more the realm of a Gautrain type of project, not to be interpreted as a swear word, toll roads, but certainly you would be able to encourage investment that way. And the idea behind that is that you then commission somebody to say, well, look, we want a road between A and B, submit a bid. And these are the constraints against which you got to meet. And several companies would then bid. That's a tender, and then you get quite a significant process, which culminates in the appointment of a concessionaire over a period. So that would be the approach that would generally be used when you have the engineering, the procurement, and the construction or construction management only utilized. So there are those processes, but again, one has to be careful. It doesn't help for an entity and who doesn't exactly know what it wants to assume that I'm going to make it easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put out an opportunity for companies to tender on a engineering, procurement and construction basis, EPC, because I actually don't know what I want. So I hope to transfer the risk to that party. That never happens. It's a bit like the casino. The house never loses. The company is bidding will price for risk. So it's going to cost you more. We need to go back to what's the real problem. The real problem in the process that you're going to implement must be addressed at the source. And the source is maybe we're lacking the skills and the knowledgeable people, and we need to recreate that in the public sector so that we can have a stepwise process to manage the infrastructure that we own in the public sector. You should be the custodian. You can't outsource it and hope that someone else is going to do it on your behalf and protect your interests. You must also be the custodian of protecting the interests of national assets. And then there's just the tendering system that one could utilize. I think for the most part, the one that we believe would work best is if your scope is not well enough defined, you then commission companies onto a panel where your decision on, firstly, having them on that panel is based on an evaluation of their quality, their track record, and we include transformation. How strongly do you transform it? Because it's not a big secret that our industry was based on a largely very conservative pre-94 mindset, and it is a legacy that we are working away, and so we do need to look at how can we make it possible for newer black-owned companies who must have the same knowledge base. It's not just an open business opportunity. If you have the knowledge base and you have the service that you're going to be selling to the public, then you must have an equal opportunity to be able to secure that kind of business. I think the big difference that needs to be understood is, unlike construction, in the construction process, the barriers to entry are very low. You literally can start your business with a wheelbarrow, even if you don't own a bakkie yet. Whereas in consulting engineering, you're selling knowledge, you're selling engineering solutions. And you can't do that if you don't have that knowledge and that knowledge base. So a lot of our practitioners have to go through a tertiary education process, and after which time they then become registered with the statutory body, Engineering Council of South Africa or the South African Council for Construction and Project Management. And then we believe you then competent to be able to sell your skills and your knowledge to earn money as a professional. It's not simply a business that I hop into without that knowledge base. And I think therein lies the challenges that were created through an open tender system. If you went to any public briefing for infrastructure, there's normally not enough space in the room. But half of the people shouldn't be there to start off with. And that creates the opportunity for tenderpreneurship and likely corruption. And if we're going to get away from that, we need to have those qualifiers and spell them out up front so that we can realize the value for money in our investment in infrastructure.